Breathe.
Hi, everybody. Anna and Jana here from Anchor Mind and Body, and we are very excited that you all are going to be a part of this Zoom call with us. We have the distinct pleasure, honestly, and honor of having Sara Fisher with us today. She's an ACE certified personal trainer. She's IMS certified. You'll learn a little bit more about Sara just from her own lips, but she's also a master trainer for the IMS program, and she's just generally a joy to be around, and we appreciate having Sara with us today. And so the three of us were talking a little earlier this week, and we came up with what we think is a cool idea, and we hope that you guys like it too. So if you're a mom out there, we want you to listen up, because we are going to title this little talk, Moms Take a Breather. And in this time of quarantine that we're in, or even if we're just safer at home, wherever you're at in the universe of all of this COVID-19 progress, we're all somewhere where we're having to be by ourselves and experiencing stress, and hopefully finding some worthwhile coping mechanisms, and also maybe some lifestyle modifications that we can make, and things that we can learn to live better, not just during this time, but things that will carry forward in lifestyle as a whole, and things that we can teach our children. So anyway, I just want to let you know, I'm a mom. Sara's a mom, Jana's a mom, and we're in 3 life stages with our kids and our families. I being the eldest, and having graduated all 4 of my chickadees out of the nest into full adulthood, and they're doing well and flying on their own. And I'm also a grandparent. Affectionately, they call me Nani because I can't deal with the G word. And Sara would be the next in line. She's got some teenagers in the house, and she can tell you a little bit more about herself if she decides to do that. And then Jana has a younger child. And so 3 life stages, and we were just going to discuss some important things today about how we are doing, and how maybe some input that we have for you on moving forward during the current situation that we're in. Okay?
Yeah, so what happened like a couple weeks ago last week when we were all chatting about this, as moms, we started talking about being a good enough mom, and like hashtag good enough mom during this time. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I'm in prison, stuck with really bad roommates some days. And like, I was really excited in the beginning, like, oh, more time with my family. Oh my God. My son and I right now fight over this pen. Who gets to use this pen? Okay, it's bad. It's like I'm back in college, and there's a lot of pressure put on us moms right now. Not only are we trying to balance how do we school our kids at home, and that's actually where this conversation has started with Sara, because she's been doing a little bit more at home with her kids for longer than we have. We have that pressure. We have the pressure of if we're working from home or trying to make some money during this time, and then we're told, hey, you're at home, so you have all this extra time, so you should be cleaning out your fridge and organizing your closet. And let's be honest, I don't know about you guys, but like, I feel like I'm busier now than I was before. And so there's just a lot of pressure put on us right now. And Sara, in her infinite wisdom, had some guidance that she wanted to share with all of us moms on how to handle the pressures that we have on a daily basis as we're stuck in quarantine with our lovely families.
Jana, you are too gracious. Infinite wisdom. Well, maybe just a little different experience is what I would call it. But yeah, so I've got a couple teenagers at home, 17 and 13, and they're obviously very self-sufficient at this point. So my challenges are basically just following up with them. Did you do your schoolwork? Because we're doing the e-learning. And fortunately for us, our school systems were already practicing e-learning for weather-related events for the last few years. Now, I'm sure there were some challenges if you were to talk to the teachers, just because this is on a grander scale, but I just have to check in, follow through, make sure that they're, getting their work done. But I will say from a mom's point of view, I think it was very appropriate timing that just before all of this COVID-19 stuff hit, I happened to start reading Sarah Knight's book, Get Your Bleep Together. And I tend to be a very put together person. Like, I have schedules, I follow my schedules, I outline what needs to be done, but my to-do lists are exponential. And I'm the type of person, like, I write things down on paper. I'm old school that way. And then, I think of something else, but that piece of paper isn't nearby. So I get another piece of paper and I start writing down my to-do list there. And all of a sudden I've got all these to-do lists. And by the end of the day, I feel like a big old failure because I haven't completed everything on my to-do list, when that's just not reality and it's not realistic. So one of the tips that Sarah Knight presented in this book was turn your to-do list into a must-do list. And I was like, this is brilliant. Why did I not think of this beforehand? So it's keep your to-do list, but then every day, like at the start of the day, what has to get done today? So if I can just share my screen here with you, I will take you through an example of what I'm talking about. So this is kind of an example of what my to-do list would look like. So, I have laundry, make dinner, right? We've got to see my clients, practice my home exercise program, maybe weed the yard, whatever else is pressing and needs to get on that list. Well, do I really need to do everything today? So I'm going to look at creating must do. Well, is everyone out of underwear and socks? Can we not get by today? Do I really have to do that laundry? We could probably go another day. So already I'm taking my laundry off the list. Sorry, we're going to try this here. So maybe I don't need to do laundry today, but making dinner, well, everyone has to eat, but do I really need to make dinner, or can we do leftovers? And can everyone pitch in and maybe help out, just make their own dinner, and then we just all eat at the same time? Okay, well, we can handle that because then it's a little less stress on me. And plus, my guys are at a stage where they can do that. And if they were younger, maybe they can help set the table or something instead of, and then I'll put the food together. So finding little things that they can, do to help out. But I have to see my clients, and I do have to practice my home exercise program. That is just a given. I have gotten to the point where I will not skip on that, because if I do, I am not a nice person, and I don't want to be a not nice person. But do I really need to weed the yard? No. Does it really matter if the weeds start to take over my lawn? Probably not in the grand scheme of things. So already I've started to now, I can wait on the laundry, getting help with dinner. I've moved my clients over to my must do. I've moved my home exercise program over, and forget about weeding the yard. Or at least I can leave it on my list and then come back to it at another time when it does become more pressing. So now I'm left with two things on my must do list for today. Well, I'm definitely going to see my clients, because it's not like I'm just going to not show up for that. So I can, once I see my clients, I can cross that off. After I've practiced my home exercise program, I can cross that off, and woohoo, I'm a big success because I crossed everything off my list today. So that's what I have started to practice, and I feel so much more sane, and I feel like I've actually accomplished something.
I started this on Monday after you told me about it, and I've done it now for 3 days, and it really does work. And it's interesting too, because there's some big projects I need to work on that I just know I don't have the chunk of time for today, because it's going to take me 4 hours. Let's just put that to the side. There's no pressure there. I'm not going to clean the garage today because I don't have 4 hours solid that I can do that. Great, but what I can do is get these little things done. And at the end of the day, for the past couple of days, Monday and Tuesday, I have felt so much more fulfilled and less overwhelmed by, especially since we're stuck at home and there's all these home projects, that I just feel a little bit more at peace. And see proof right here, must do with today's date on it. And I listed what was most important for me to get done today. And one of them was clean my pantry, which I did while I multitasked talking to Anna about business stuff.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know, honestly,
Bravo.
I don't know if I would have thought about it unless it was on my must-do list. That, you know what, it'll take me no time to clean that pantry. It'll make me feel better.
Right.
And so it's been a really good, helpful tool. And I'm happy to share that with the other moms because I think it will help everybody.
Yeah. And how long did it take you to make that list in the morning?
Oh, no, not because I start my day with my long to-do list. I usually start the week with a very long to-do list. So I already go back to my list that I started with and say, what can I handle for today?
Yes.
And it's how I start my morning with meditation and journaling and my to-do list. And honestly, today I didn't have time for journaling. I only had time for my must-do list. And I didn't feel like I was starting my day not ready for it. It was just that fact of like, I'm going to focus on these 5 things that I can control today. Some of them are little, like, transfer money from one bank account to the other. I mean, but I got to cross it off.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's right.
But what we were saying is like and you brought it up with your home exercise plan very naturally, Sarah. And that's one of the things that we were all talking about last week is that during this crazy time of being stuck at home, it's already hard enough in our normal life not to put ourselves above our family or other. It's just a mom thing. Like we'll forget about ourselves. And during this time, I don't know for other moms, but I feel like it's even been harder. Although I technically have more time, I feel like I'm constantly in the kitchen. I'm constantly thinking about, do we have enough dishes? Because all we do is eat all day. And it's just time to prioritize. It's hard to find the time to prioritize myself.
Right.
And and that's one of the things that we wanted to discuss today is how important that is. And I know Anna has gotten a lot of experience through the years of when you don't take care of yourself, what can happen.
It's true. And, I think it's important to acknowledge that was perfect segue, Jana, because I think we need to acknowledge that every woman has a story, places where they've struggled in their lives, things that they've gone through. We 3 do, and every woman on the planet does, and mom or not,
Right.
And at the different life stages, where my kids were little, I had certain struggles when they were in elementary. I had certain struggles as they got older, and then, a couple of them in intermediate school and a couple more in high school. And then all of a sudden, then we were commuting back and forth to college, and how are we going to handle the stress of driving 7 hours in one direction to see a kid do his college thing and then make it back for the high school game. And then, it was just different stressors at different points in life. And I think developing good life practices of revisiting that self-discipline and how are we doing in our own self-discipline, how are we doing in our healthy practices, I think that is so important. And there's different ways to do that. But Sarah, you took a group of us yesterday through a really good de-stressing healthy practice, and we're thankful that you're going to share that with the audience that will be watching this call, because this is a perfect way to center on yourself, to learn about how you're feeling, to take a moment to focus inward. So when you have to be focused outward, you're ready for that. So
yes, yeah, absolutely. And it's actually our number one strategy here at Chicago Integrative Movement Specialists. It's breathing. It's that simple, but yet it's not just breathing any old way. It's a very specific way to breathe because it helps optimize your actual oxygen intake. And we all know we all need oxygen, and it helps to release chronic areas of tension and tightness. And it also helps to start connecting your core. So it's like a very foundational core work strategy. And it's also, as we know, a very mindful practice in helping to just calm us down, settle our nervous system, calm our minds. So it's really multi-purpose, and you get the most bang for your buck. And I'm telling you, you can do this especially once you really get the self-checks and the breathing down. It can take you all of 5 minutes at any one given time. So, so I'll just go ahead and talk to you guys really quickly about that. With self-checks, it's a way for us to determine if we're actually helping or hindering and making an impact on ourselves. So it's just a range of motion assessment, and I'll show you 3 range of motion assessments that you guys can take yourselves through. And the goal is not to necessarily do all 3, but to choose one that you most connect with, that you notice the biggest difference in feeling before and after breathing. And then the reset is the breathing. So the strategy for that, I'm just going to share this video with you guys so that you can see where we're breathing into. And this is our three-dimensional breathing. So with breathing, you have to make sure that you are getting low, top to bottom, side to side, and front to back. And you can see that my hands down low here, I'm working on breathing down towards my pelvis. So I'm not forcing it, I'm just inhaling. And as I inhale, the breath should be able to rise up into my fingers. And then the second area we want to breathe into is laterally out into our rib cage. So as we inhale, our lungs expand and our rib cage gently fans open out to the side. So the hands go at around that lower rib cage to observe if you can get the breath laterally. And then to get the front to back portion, you can see I just moved my hands to the back side of my rib cage. Now you don't have to move them back there, especially if you have shoulder issues, but you can just picture breathing across your back and across the floor if you're doing this on the floor. But the beautiful thing is that you don't have to be on the floor. You can do this seated, you can do it standing, you can do it lying face down, you can do it on your back, you can have your feet up, you can have your feet down. The key is just focusing those three areas. So that's the side view, breathing out into the sides. And then you can see where, oops, I can focus on breathing across my back. Okay, so I'm just gonna take you guys through this. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna move my camera so that you guys can see. And I'm gonna have to unplug here and then shout across the room. Because this is how we got to do things right now.
Everything's good enough right now. We do
right. Okay, so everyone is going to go ahead and stand up, and you're going to do this with me. So we're going to start standing, and I'll walk you through the whole self-check process. Okay, so I'm going to get back here. Okay. All right. Can you guys see my head from there?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. All right. So with this, we're going to start with our feet together. Okay. And your hands by your sides. And you're going to do cervical rotation and check the range of motion, the degree of your range, and the quality of your range of motion. Okay. So you're going to look over your right shoulder and then stop when it stops. You don't want to try to go beyond. And then come back to center. And then you'll look over your left. Stop when your head stops and come back to center. Do that a few more times, and you're comparing the two sides. Which side feels more restricted? Which side might feel crunchier? Maybe you have some discomfort. Just kind of notice the more restricted or the more compensated side. Okay? And then from here, we're going to still keep our feet together. And the reason the feet are together is just for sake of consistency for testing purposes. All right, so what you're going to do next is you're going to place your hand across your lower rib cage. And the reason we do that is so that when we raise the arm, if I turn to the side, you can tell if, when your arm goes overhead, your rib cage starts to pull forward. Okay, that's a compensation that you're going to watch for. You don't want it to happen. One of the other compensations you might see is that as your arm goes overhead, it might go out to the side and you don't even realize it. That's a compensation. Another compensation is that maybe you stay straight overhead, but your elbow starts to bend. So those are things you're going to watch for, along with lightness or heaviness of the arm. So we're going to take one arm forward and up. You're going to stop when that shoulder feels tight or restricted, or if you have pain, obviously stop before you get to the pain. We'll do that one more time. Get a sense of the quality and the degree of range. And then you're going to switch sides, cross the opposite hand, and then raise the other arm overhead. Get a sense, does it feel light? Does it feel heavy? And how does that compare to the other side? So you want to get a sense of which side is the more compensated side or which side is the more restricted side. Okay? We're going to do one other assessment. You're going to keep your feet together and you're going to place your hands on your hips. We're going to do standing rotation. So your hips are going to go with you and you're going to stop when your pelvis stops. Okay, so you're going to twist over your right side, although I'm running into a wall here. And then you're going to come back to center and then twist over your left and come back to center. And you're going to get a sense of which side is more restricted, which side just doesn't turn as far. We'll do that one more time. The key too is to make sure you stop at center so you get a sense of your home base, and then you twist to the other side. You don't want to go twist, twist. Yep, it all feels good because your brain doesn't have a chance to connect. So make sure you stop at center. Okay? Now, the next thing we're going to do, you have a sense of where the areas feel compensated or restricted. So now we're going to do our three-dimensional breathing and then reassess and see if you feel any difference in those ranges of motion. But to really breathe optimally, for right now, I'm going to take you guys through seated, just for sake of video, okay? So when we sit down, we want to practice optimal sitting. So I'm going to show you guys how to sit optimally, especially during this time when we're doing so much online work. This will come in very handy. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to start by sitting in front of your chair, okay? I'm going to lift this up and then I'll have to move it again. But from here, you want to make sure that you're thinking long through the back of your head, like you have a string floating the back of your head towards the ceiling, okay? So that you keep long so you're not hanging out. Then the other thing, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to practice almost thinking about creating space in between your rib cage, okay? And then you're going to go ahead and keep that length and think about creating that space in your rib cage, and then sit down into the chair. Okay? Now you want to sit back as far as you can, and then once you're there, you're going to place one hand under your cheek, pull it out and back on the diagonal, pull out the other cheek out and back on the other diagonal, okay? So that way you're really finding that you're sitting up on top of your sits bones, because we don't want to be sitting hanging out back here, because then we're crushing our diaphragm and in one area and over extending it in another, and you can't really get an optimal breath, okay? So what we're gonna do from here is we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna practice hands on just inside your pelvic bones, okay? So you're going to take an inhale, and as you inhale, I want you to think about breathing down towards your fingers. And then you'll exhale fully and completely until you almost feel like you have no air to breathe back out, but without forcing. And then inhale again. And as you inhale, think about that breath dropping down to your fingers. And then exhale, letting the breath rise up and out completely and fully exhaling. And then a third time, inhale. And then exhale completely, gently, and fully. Good. Now we're going to move our hands up to our rib cage. So now we want to take an inhale, and we want to picture that breath making its way out and expanding laterally into the ribs. Okay? So we're going to go inhale. And as you inhale, allow the breath to expand out into your sides. And then exhale, completely and fully letting those ribs gently come back together. And then inhale again. And exhale, letting those ribs come back together, gently relaxing back down. And then inhale again. And if you can, you want to try to inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. It creates a longer pathway, and so it forces you to slow down your breathing, which makes you more efficient as well. Good. All right, so now, just so that you can see, you want to find your breath across your back here, okay? So I'm able to put my hands here, so I'm going to do that, but you can also wrap them around. Actually, I'll do it this way. And you can wrap them around and try to find your breath where your fingertips are. Okay, so you're going to inhale across your back and then exhale completely and fully. And then inhale again. As you inhale, picture your inhale making its way towards your fingers. And then exhale all the way until you have no more breath to expel. One more time.
Inhale across your back and out into your fingers. And then exhale. Again, aiming to do this through your nose if you can. If you can't, don't worry about it. Just do the best you can. Good. Okay, we're not quite done. Now we want to make sure that we get all 3 of those areas within one breath. So it's not going to be a big, huge breath. We're just going to be very pointed with it, and we're going to be timed with our breath so that we exhale longer than we inhale. Okay? So you can place your hands wherever it's comfortable. You want to keep them here, here, down low, whatever you feel like you need to do. Okay? So we're going to take that nice inhale. As you inhale, you're going to let your breath drop down, out into your sides, and across your back. And then exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 3. Whether you can go low, sides, across your back. Exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more time. Inhale, low, sides, back. Exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, there you go. You've got your 3-dimensional breathing. So you may have noticed that some areas are a little more challenging than others. You may have noticed that some areas are easier. If you really struggle with certain areas, don't try to force it, because you can actually just create more issues than not. So go with the area where you're finding the most success. Okay, so let's stand up and let's take a look at our assessments again. All right, so you're going to start with your feet together. We're going to do our cervical rotation. So you're going to look over your right, you come back to center, look over your left, come back to center. Do that a couple more times. Hopefully you're noticing that after practicing optimal breathing, you've got a little more range of motion to the side that was more restricted, and maybe you just feel like it's a smoother range of motion as well. Okay, now keep your feet together, cross one hand over, and you're going to do an arm raise. So take that arm straight up and then come back down. Do that a couple more times. So remember, you're looking to see if you get more range, but also the quality. Does it feel lighter? Do you not bend your arm as much? Maybe your arm actually stays straight instead of pulling out to the side. Do the other side and compare the 2 sides, getting that sense of the difference. And the side that had more issues or more compensations or more restriction, that's the side you really want to key into, because that's the side where we're looking to increase the range and decrease compression and tightness. Now let's check our rotation. So hands go on your hips, feet are still together. You're going to twist over your right, and you're stopping when your pelvis stops. Return to center and pause, then turn to the other side and back to center. Checking a couple more times. The side that was more restricted or you had more issues with, does that feel smoother? Does the range improve? Okay, so there we have your optimal 3-dimensional breathing.
Sara, thank you so much. That is, it's an important skill. I'm finding since I've known Jana and she's been going through the system with you guys and becoming fully trained in the ICER and IMS stuff. It's been enlightening to me, just from an industry professional standpoint, but then also from a personal standpoint, which is the whole point here. And
Right.
I want to just, in our short time that we have left, I want to have you highlight the website where you're putting up the videos with the free trial for people.
Yeah.
And when they get in touch, we'll put all of this up when we, make this available to everyone. But if you could just very quickly maybe summarize your website and.
Yeah. I'm seeing if we can pull it up right now. But just if we have the time, but in terms of what's on the website, so we actually have products listed for home programs. There are 3 currently, and we're looking to roll out more, so there's more to come. But we currently have up there for free for 45 days. We have Core. It's called Pure Core and Arms. And then the third one we have is Restore.
That's
So each of those is just a little bit different, focusing on different areas. So you really get different mindful home programs. I think the longest one is 55 minutes, but once you sign up, you can and go and are actually doing the program, you can pause it, you can come back to it. So, you know, if the kids need something, you can pause it, go deal with whatever the kids need, come back, re-enter the program, or not re-enter, but hit play again. So it's very user friendly. And quite honestly, I've actually been taking myself through the program every single day. I'm listening to myself, talk myself through the program. And I was telling Janice, my colleague, the other day, I was like, hey, wow, you know, this is so nice. It's like, I don't have to think. I can just listen.
That's so great.
You know, Sarah, it looks like Zoom's going to kick us off. So we have less than a minute left. We will put it's imsinchicago.com. I would tell all the moms to do the Restore one if you're feeling a lot of stress. I can tell you with all the clients I've had online, everybody has tension that you are not aware of. This is not the time to go out there and kick your body right now. It's okay to relax. Try the Restore. It's a great time to find some alignment, to work on your alignment and your breathing. And thank you so much, Sarah, for making the time for us.
It's my pleasure.
Really
thank you for having me.
Sorry for the abrupt ending, but Zoom's kicking us off. So
it's my pleasure.